Shalom everybody, and welcome back to Insights in the Parsha of the Week, Parshat BeShalach, using as our basis Likutey Moharan lesson 24. In fulfillment to what Rebbe Nachman once said, that with one of his lessons you can go through the entire Torah, and we are trying to do so with this Torah, lesson 24. In this week's Parsha, at the end, Shvi'i, right before the whole incident of Amalek, the Jews are tested and testing Hashem and Moshe regarding water. There's no water to drink. They complain. Let's take a look inside. Always is good to look inside. Let's look at the verses quickly. Okay, this is chapter 17, verse 1. We'll skim through quickly. Vayisu kol adat bnei Yisrael memidbar Sin milemasehem. And the Jews sojourned and traveled, the whole assembly of the Jewish people, from the desert of Sin in their sojournings, al pi Hashem, based on how Hashem is ordering them to do so. Vayachanu b'Refidim, and they settled in Refidim. Ve'en mayim lishtot ha'am, and there is no water for the nation to drink. Verse 2. Vayarev ha'am im Moshe, so the nation began to quarrel with Moshe. Vayomru tunu lanu mayim v'nishteh, and they said, give us water so we can drink. Vayomer lahem Moshe, and Moshe said to the Jewish people, Ma terivun imadi, why are you quarreling with me and causing strife? Ma tenasun et Hashem, why are you testing God? Okay? And then they started to complain. Vayitzma shama am lamayim, and the nation was thirsty for water. Vayale na'am al Moshe, and the nation, they were complaining to Moshe. Vayomer lama zeh litanu mitzrayim, and they said as one, why did you take us out of Egypt? Lahamit oti ve'et banai ve'et miknai batzama, to take me out and my children out and my cattle and to die in thirst. Vayitzak Moshe el Hashem lemor. So Moshe screamed to Hashem, saying, Ma yaseh la'am hazeh, what shall I do to this nation? Od me'atu skaluni, in just a little bit more time they'll stone me. Hashem and Moshe, avor lifnei ha'am. So Hashem told Moshe, pass before the nation. And Rashi says, you'll see they won't stone you. Why did you speak bad against my children? V'kach itecha miziknei Israel, take with you from the elders of Israel, u'matecha asher hikita bo et ha'yaor, and the staff in which you striked with it the Nile River, kach biadecha ve'alachta, take within your hand and walk, go. Hineni omed lefanecha sham al atzur, and I will be standing, my divine presence will be standing there on the rock, bechorev, in the desert. V'hikita vatzur, and you should smite with your staff the stone. V'yatzu mimenu mayim, and water will come out of the rock. V'shata ha'am, and the nation will drink. Vayasken Moshe le'nei ziknei Israel, and Moshe did so in the eyes in front of the elders of Israel. Vayikra Shem hamakom Masa Umriva. So he called Moshe the place Masa Umriva, being tested and conflict and strife. 2 words, 2 names. Why? To commemorate Al Riv b'nei Israel, for the quarreling of the Jewish people. It's number 1, that's the Meriva. Nasotam et Hashem, and on them testing Hashem, saying the following, the more, Hayesh Hashem b'kibenu imayin, is Hashem with us or is he not with us? Okay? These are the verses about the incident of the striking of the water. What in the world is going on? Why does he have to strike a rock with his staff? Why does Hashem choose this way to bring them water? He can bring water by creating an underground spring just to pop up, or rain to come, even if it's a desert. Hashem can find many ways to bring water to the Jewish people, but he chose specifically this idea of breaking a rock and using the staff, which, right, like Rashi brings down, is also made of a type of rock material, very strong, called sanpirinon, which can break a crack through a rock. So the idea that water coming through a rock and being cracked open with another rock, okay, is the idea connected to what Rebbe Nachman says in lesson 24, and as Rav Nosson expounds this idea, that when a Jew is trying to get closer to Hashem, and he's trying his best to serve Hashem with joy, and he's trying to advance, and he wants to come closer, and he wants help and clarification in life and all the challenges he's facing on a regular mundane level, whether it's family peace at home issues, raising the children properly issues, financial health, and also all the more so spiritual issues, like a person working on himself better to come closer to Hashem, to be more holy or pure and more refined and fear of heaven. Okay, the process is, the way is that a person must hit a wall. You must hit a wall and be bounced back. You have to experience this, what's called in Hebrew betisha, in Aramaic really, a betisha, which means you're being smacked into a wall and you're being bounced back. This is the only way for a person to grow. He needs this type of a smash and a betisha. What happens is when a person is bounced back and he accepts the setback, he accepts it with humility, and he does what's the normal thing to do, which is to cry to Hashem, to express his inner desire. This itself allows for a person to perceive what's beyond this wall. This wall specifically bashes a person back, because if it didn't do so and let the person to keep on going, the person would just disintegrate. He would disappear, because a human being is finite. He's corporeal, he's physical, and the light he's trying to connect to is the infinite light. It's infinite, it's endless. A finite being cannot merge with an infinite accessibility, because he'll disappear. So what's needed, well, Rebbe Nachman explains it in lesson 24, is a person is bounced back. He's pushed back. He smashes into this wall, which is called the keter, and it pushes him back. And if the person accepts it properly, takes it in the right way, doing the right thing, which is using it to come closer to Hashem, to express his inner yearning, which normally comes out when a person has frustrations and setbacks and obstacles and confusions, etc., and suffering and pain, all the etc., 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 and stress and trauma, etc., etc. So the normal attitude, the normal Jewish attitude of this test is that a person is expected to express his inner yearning and desire, which is deep inside, to now articulate it, to enunciate it, to express it in his mouth, to tell Hashem, I just want to come close to you. That's all I wanted. I just want to be a good Jew. Why am I going through such difficulties, Hashem? All I want is you. Hashem, why are you pushing me back? What do you gain? What do you gain by pushing me back? I just want to go forward. That's why it happened in the first place, to get these type of words out. And this allows for all the bounty and blessings to come down. So in the Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu hitting with his staff the rock and then cracking it open, and then water coming out of rocks. What in the world? Since when does water come out of a rock? Two opposites. But yes, to show you that beyond the wall is bounty. But the only way to accept it is a person has to have a setback. So the staff, which is made from rock also, hitting the rock, cracking it though, and making water come out, is to remind the Jewish people that this is the test. They being tested with water, being thirsty, and it's normal, they start going nuts. Where's the water? Moshe Rabbeinu took us to die. They were punished in a sense because they doubted Hashem's existence. But what do you want? They're being tested. What were they supposed to do? They're supposed to tell Hashem, I know I don't deserve to have water. I know I've sinned. I know I was an idolater in Egypt. But Hashem, all we want to do is to follow you. We want to come to you. We agreed to follow Moshe Rabbeinu into the desert without proper provisions. We only prepared matzot for 30 days, like Rashi says in this week's Parsha. We just went out because we want to follow you, Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Torah. We want to receive the Torah Har Sinai. We want to come to the Holy Land, the land flowing of milk and honey. We want that, Hashem. That's all we want. That's what they were expected to do and to say. They didn't do so. So they were shown that this was the normal attitude. If they would have accepted the setback, the rock, water would come out without having to smash it. So, but because now they did complain, so the punishment follows in the next parsha, the next section of the parsha, the end of Amalek. Like Rashi brings down this midrash, an analogy of a father who's carrying his son on his shoulder, around his head, and then while the child is on the father's shoulders, So then the father encounters a person, and the child says to the person, "Have you seen my father anywhere?" So the father gets upset. "Have you seen my father? I'm holding you up on my shoulders, and you say where I am? I'll show you where I am." So he puts his son down on the ground for a second, and a dog comes and tries to bite the son. Now where's your father? Right? That's the Midrash says. Amalek is compared to this dog that comes to bite the Jewish people, to remind that Hashem is always carrying them. All they have to do is to cry out to Hashem. That's what's expected in these tests of life, not to start complaining and being upset and Hashem is not with us and making these negative conclusions. He kicked us out. He sent us to the desert to die, like we just saw in the Psukim here. He took us out to let us die from thirst, me, my children, and my cattle. Why? And then Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Why are you screaming? Why are you testing Hashem?" What were they supposed to do? They're supposed to express their yearning. Hashem, I know I'm not deserving, but help me, Hashem. All I want is to come close to you. If they would express the Ratzon, they wouldn't have to suffer with Amalek afterwards. But that's the test. The test is that a person is faced with a rock, like this situation where they're in a desert, there's no water. Okay, it's like being hit with a rock. What am I supposed to do? They're supposed to cry out to Hashem. That was the test. They didn't pass the test, that's why Amalek came. But the message Hashem was trying to tell them, that you're hit with a rock, okay? And you're hit with the rock, and you're expected to do the right thing. Which is what? When being bounced back, express your yearning. On a bit more deeper level, Rashi says the name of the rock material which Moshe Rabbeinu's staff was made of. And it's called Sanpirinon. It's like sapphire, a type of sapphire, very expensive, and it's so strong that it can break through even a rock. That's why it cracked the lower rock and let the water come out. If you take a look at the gematria of Sanpirinon, without the final vav, if you can spell it without a vav, it's gematria exactly 500, right? Samech nun pei reish yud nun. Sanpirinon, without the final vav, is 500. 500 is the gematria of Nosson, Rebbe Nachman's disciple. What's so special about that connection? It's Rav Nosson, throughout his writings, throughout his Likutey Moharan, and his letters in Alim L'Tshuva, and his prayers, that he's always telling the person, educating the person, take the humbled attitude. Take the attitude of not demanding, but rather of being submitted before Hashem, and tell Hashem your yearning. Express your yearning. Don't be upset and demanding, I demand this, I demand that, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve that. Don't take that attitude. The attitude should always be, Hashem, I just want to be a better Jew. I want to come closer to you. I accept what I'm going through, but Hashem, but what can I do? Throughout his writings, Rav Nosson is talking to people about that. Most people, they try to be perfectionists. It's all or nothing. I deserve this, I deserve A, B, C, D. I have the strength, I have the koch to invest, and I demand A, B, C, D. Rav Nosson says, and when life doesn't follow your guidelines, when life doesn't follow your skit that you played, that you wrote out, you prepared that Hashem should follow your skit in the performance of your life, what do you do when Hashem doesn't want to follow suit, and then you're stuck like the carpet has been taken from under your feet? You have to take the submitted attitude, all the same time, expressing your yearning and desire before Hashem. So this is one of the big messages, that the rock on Moshe Rabbeinu's hand, Moshe Rabbeinu is like the tzaddik, and Sanpirinon is the disciple. The disciple is so strong because he's the disciple. Nosson was Rebbe Nachman's disciple, not Rebbe Nachman, Moshe Rabbeinu. They're associated. We won't go that much into it, but Moshe Rabbeinu is the sphira of Netzach, as is known. The 7 supernal shepherds, each one corresponds to a different one of the 7 lower sphirot. Netzach being the sphere associated with Moshe Rabbeinu, and Netzach is Gematria Nachman. So Moshe Rabbeinu holding the staff is the idea of holding his disciple, that he's holding him and guarding him, governing him, protecting him. His merit is on him, and this type of staff can crack into the rock and bring forth the water. In other words, when there's the rock and I'm being bounced back, to have the rock produce the bounty that I'm looking for, which is the light beyond it, this is true the attitude that Rav Nosson, the disciple, brings forth, which is the attitude of humility and yearning and desire. Shabbat Shalom, and may we use the staff, the Sanpirinon, the power of Rav Nosson to break through any obstacle we go through, to wait for the rock to crack open and to bring forth the bounty of holy water. Shabbat Shalom.